Hey friends, welcome to NPC Generator here at Quest Givers. Today we're going to do a healer, and now we're going to roll for the archetype. Do you want me to do the honors?
Do the honors. OD 12 of knowledge. Give us a character archetype.
And I got 11.
Visionary.
Oh, cool. A visionary healer. Neat.
If you're looking for adventure, grab the modules each month to support the channel and play the campaign with your gaming group. You're sure to get hooked on adventure.
On our website, questgivers.com, you can purchase the PDF of this character, which includes a portrait and all the information we're talking about in this video that helps support the channel. And you can also sign up for our mailing list there. Don't forget our Kickstarter on September 1st. Scotty, a healer. What is this character in the society? What is this, what is a healer?
The healer, yeah, I mean, it's for the player characters is a very important character, right? But for any society, you need somebody who's going to do the healing. But you also have the extra level to this character of the visionary part, right? The visionary part is deals with dreams and seeking out the secrets of the universe and that kind of thing. So very interesting character we got going on here.
Yeah, a healer is an important part of this sort of fantasy medieval society. So usually associated with some form of magic or at least potions. There could be a herbalist of some kind. So they do function within a society. Sometimes they're an outcast, so usually it's the witch in the hut outside the village, or something to that effect. So we're not really going to talk about the class if you're playing a game that has classes. We're just going to sort of generally talk about the psychology of this character and how they appear and things like that. So the first part of their psychological makeup is, what is the drive? What drives this healer, Scotty?
Okay, this healer's interesting because it's to understand the laws of the universe, right? That's really an interesting part of this character. And, it doesn't have to mean that the character's a cleric or that kind of thing with a, deity worship or that kind of thing. In your game, if you have that, you could add that. I think the person would be not necessarily like a clerical healer, but someone who just has kind of an innate understanding of the universe and like the mysteries, that are in it, and the healing kind of comes from that visionary aspect of the character. I really like that idea. What do you think, Gareth?
Yeah, we don't really want to prescribe what class, because obviously this is designed to be used in a lot of different games, and you may not have cleric in the game that you're using. So this is more a psychological rundown. So yeah, the drive, as you say, the drive would be to sort of understand the fundamentals of the universe that they're in touch with, I think. And that then you'd have the goal for this character would really to take their sort of dreams and visions and make them a reality. So they're kind of a catalyst for change, not in a societal and political way, but like invention. They're a catalyst for invention, for creating new potions, for creating new spells if you want to go down that sort of magic user route. So think of them really as their goal is to create this new thing that they've envisioned in their mind. That's really what I think, that's what would drive this character forward. So what do you think their fear would be? What would this healer fear most besides Ebola?
I'd say playing on what you said, Gareth, about creating new things and potions and that kind of thing, maybe even new ways of healing. I think a cool thing would be unintended consequences, right? Like you're getting this knowledge, or you're intuiting this knowledge from the universe, right? And you're tapping into it. You're not quite sure, and you might be afraid that as a conduit for that maybe you're going to do something wrong, you're not going to interpret it right, or that kind of thing. So I think that would be a really neat way to play that.
Yeah, it's like it's the antithesis to their drive, really. It's like, well, part of it is almost fuels their drives. They want to create, so they want to sort of understand the vision that they've had or the dream that they've had. but they don't want this to become something negative. So they've had this great idea for a potion. They don't want it to become a poison. So they don't want to inadvertently create something that's toxic and will run amok. So, you know, this I think is quite fundamental to this character. Is like they would have this great sense of failure if they'd created something detrimental. As a healer, you wouldn't want to really be making poisons. I think as part of that, then they have the strategy. The strategy would really then be sort of to have this, to take this vision and live by a set of rules that helps them come to some kind of outcome. So they have like almost the scientific method in whatever, you know, in the medieval fantasy, whatever version of the scientific method is, they'll have this sort of strict set of rules as to how they only brew the potions on weekends, and they only use very clean water, and so they'd be quite meticulous in their in sort of the way that they approach this, so that they don't make the mistake of inadvertently creating bad things. So I think the healer would then react negatively to someone who tells her what to do that's outside her strategy of approaching things. So if someone comes along and tries to cast a healing spell, that would be, you know, against the way to do it. You must rather do it with herbs. It's, you know, you'll get, the wound will stitch better.
I would think finding win-win solutions, because, you know, they want to, you know, channel their ability into things that would be beneficial, you know, to both the vision of what would happen and what actually they create to happen, right? So, you know, that's the ultimate goal of the character, and that's, you know, and that kind of plays on the character's fear of, you know, not causing harm, right?
Yeah, it kind of brings it, you know, anyone who's in touch with the universe will always be someone who is quite balanced. You know, they'll understand the inner workings of things. And so with their strategy of taking like the scientific method to approach a problem, to create a new solution, she would or he would approach this with an outcome that's going to be beneficial for everyone. So it's not, so again, it's things like the healing potions that have a positive impact on characters, a positive impact on society. You know, if there's a poisoned water well in the town, she would have the potion that would clear up the water. She's not the person who would be creating the poison. So as far as Quest goes, she'd be very good as a mentor character that provides the, you know, the potion that will clear the well and things like that. So I think that's core to her as a talent. But finally, of course, the flip side of the coin is the weakness.
You know, everything the character is doing, I think becoming manipulative would be an interesting choice for the character. Like she or they are afraid to become manipulative and, you know, make things go in their favor because they like to have a good outcome. So if, you know, you could take that to the extreme, essentially, right? You could really push that on other people, and then, you know, they are having to do what you're saying. So yeah, kind of finding that balance, I think, would be her biggest you know, challenge.
Yeah, it's just forcing her scientific method onto others would be, you know, it's like she will manipulate the situation so she gets her way in order for the thing to work. And that's kind of her weakness, is that come hell or high water, it's going to be done her way. So, you know, even though she is doing good, she's manipulating people and situations in order for it to work out in her favor.
Yeah, because she feels that she knows best, right? She has these visions. She has this way the universe works, the way things should be done. And when people are fighting that, it's like kind of butting heads. So yeah, that makes a really interesting player interaction.
So when we first encounter this character, what do you think we're going to see? What's standing in front of us?
I think you would see maybe a bit of a disheveled person, because they're more concerned with the external, like getting the stuff out, getting the stuff out, getting the potion out, getting the thing right they're doing, getting the healing, the technique, than maybe their own personal appearance. So maybe they're a bit haggard. Maybe, these dreams or visions, they have rings under their eyes and their hair is kind of unkempt, and maybe people think they're a bit of a witch or something, or avoid them because they have this kind of, bedraggled, look to them from just so much going on in their mind and passing through them, and being channeled and driven, driven to do this, driven to do it right, driven to do it their way. So I think they would be, yeah, they'd look like that. They would look, a bit unkempt and that kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of long nights of, of bubbling some potion over a cauldron. That takes a toll. Working with all these sort of different herbs and chemicals and whatever, they got a bit of the herb stuff in their hair. The clothes have got holes in them, so they got that sort of hermit look about them. But that's not to say that they're not wealthy. It's just that they taking care of themselves is second to creating this new thing that's going to heal the world, make it a better place.
And, like their clothes, I think they would be very simple, practical clothes. Like you said, there could be holes, and that kind of thing. But yeah, I think they would just be, simple, cotton, woolen, clothes that are just as practical as possible.
And in terms of equipment, I think you'd have like, a ladle and a wooden spoon and all these kind of things, like little a sickle, and a little blade. So because there'd be the tools that this healer would be working with all the time, and maybe a handful of potions as well. So they'd have a little bag that they've collected herbs and mushrooms and all that kind of stuff in minerals, and in there is maybe a couple of potions, and obviously you can come up with what the potions actually are, but because it's what they do, it's like the last version of their experiment. So they're trying to create this ultimate potion, and these are sort of the previous versions of the experiment that have failed but still have some kind of, one creates invisible people, and another one, helps them breathe underwater. This is not what they intended to happen, but this is the sort of the mistakes that came out of the process.
That's a really fun idea, and maybe their ultimate drive is to make, like the Philosopher's Stone or something. It's not necessarily that, but it could be like maybe an immortality potion or something that, you would protect, you could not be hurt, you could not be harmed, or you would heal from any harm or disease or damage. And maybe that would be unattainable, but maybe that's the total desire of this person, this healer, to create something, that final end, the thing that is the pinnacle of your craft.
The grand experiment, the unified theory of herbalism. Catchphrase. We have to come up with a catchphrase for this.
Right.
Would that work? Or no, it'd be more like scratch their head. Would that work?
Or I haven't tried that yet.
I haven't tried. Ooh. And like she picks something off yours, like looks at it. I haven't tried this yet.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
It's like lint. It tastes it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like the healer, when she's involved, if she were to be involved in combat, would obviously use what she knows. So she wouldn't be that much of a strategist, so she'd more kind of like get behind things and use the potions, the chemicals, and the herbs that she has to kind of waylay the characters or to get out of the room. So she'd be less confrontational, I would think. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I believe she would. Like her focus would be healing and knowledge, and I would think that violence and the things that happen in the world are kind of a distraction to them, right? Like they don't want to have to deal with that. So it's almost like they're annoyed, right? When this stuff happens, they're just kind of annoyed that, oh, what, this is happening. But they won't shirk from helping. They won't shirk from helping if the players need it.
And I think also because of their knowledge of mixing all these things together, it wouldn't be beyond them to create some kind of explosive by knocking two things together, or lighting something on fire that they know will explode and throw it at the characters. So those are the kinds of things that show. Obviously they have like the sickle and maybe a little blade, but that's not really what they would be. They still wouldn't be able to use that in combat. But because they're healers, they'd have a little bit more knowledge of anatomy. So up close and personal, they'll know which vein to nick. But that's if you've cornered them, and if you've sort of got them in a corner and they've got the last resort. She could probably do triple damage up close with the sickle, because oh, there we go. So yeah, I think there's that one strategic thing that she can do when cornered. But most of her sort of strategy is to get the hell out of there.
Right. And that could be an interesting part. Maybe an enemy breaks off and corners her, and you see the scuffle in the corner, and the character's like, oh crap, and they go to rescue her, and then the assailant turns and holds their neck or something, and then just a stream of blood comes out, or some part of their body, the stream of blood just squirts out, and they kind of just collapse. And that would be a fun, when you don't expect someone like that to be able to defend themselves, that they know the exact place to prick to get the maximum result. So yeah, I think that would be a fun little encounter.
Yeah, so that's the healer character. You can purchase the PDF of this character on our website, questgivers.com, which helps support the making of this channel. So thank you very much. And of course, share this video with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.